Executive Board Candidates Forum. I'm Chris Nussman. I'm NENA's Communications Director. Thanks for joining us today. We'll get started in just a minute here, but a few housekeeping notes. We are recording this webinar, so if you miss any part of it or would like to watch it again or share it with other voters, it's going to be up at our YouTube channel shortly after this live broadcast. Also, we are going to try and have some time to answer your questions, so if you want to use the question dialogue and the GoToWebinar interface, we'll try to get to as many of those as we can towards the tail end of the webinar. With that, I am going to hand it over to today's moderator, Sharon Counterman, one of our wonderful NENA Past Presidents. Sharon?
Thanks, Chris, and thank you everyone for joining us, and especially the candidates willing to bare their souls for us. So I'm going to be giving each of the candidates, both Lisa and Monica, 5 minutes to start off and give us a little introduction of themselves. And then after that, we'll go into the question and answers that have been prepared for them. And they're going to be providing answers that I'm sure will make a difference in how they run for office. So first, I'm going to start off, and it's in alphabetical order. So Lisa, I'm going to start with you first. And will you please give us a little information on your background?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Western Region members, Sharon, I appreciate you moderating. Chris and Bree, thank you for setting this up. I just want to tell you a little bit about my background and about my candidacy. So I want to let you know that I was appointed to this position, the Western Region, back in August of 2013 because the current director at that time for the Western Region shipyarder had to resign for personal reasons. I was fortunate enough to be selected by Buster, the president, to fill out Chip's term, and I've really enjoyed serving as your representative. I know I've been in contact with almost everybody that I can, all the presidents I've been in direct contact with a lot, and I really am hoping you'll give me the opportunity to continue representing you for the next 2 years. A lot of you probably know me. I've been around for a long time. I don't like saying that, but I have been. And I want to make sure you all know anything you want to about me, to share my background and experience as a 911 professional. I hope that that'll provide you with a good overview of who I am and where I'm coming from. So I have 32 years experience as a 911 professional. Actually, I started in 911 before 911 existed in California. I want to continue to bring to the position my experience. I was a Deputy Director for San Francisco's Communications Center. That was my most recent position. I served there for 7 years. Prior to that, I was with the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department and also in a combined PSAP for 26 years. I served as the president of NENA and was on that board for about 8 years. Due to retirements, I kept coming back. I was a board representative to the Northern California chapter of APCO and served as the governor's appointee to the State of California 911 Advisory Board for 8 years. I've been a really good advocate for the wireless accuracy problems that we've had, and I've testified before the FCC on this matter. I've worked very closely with California PUC to establish better regulations for NLPS standards, and I've been an advocate in both of these evolving issues. If I'm elected, I'm going to continue to use my experience and enthusiasm to grow the membership and focus attention on the need for NLPS regulation or legislation change. Continue to work on improved wireless location accuracy, and most importantly, ensuring PSAPs understand the importance of embracing next generation technology. I know it's a little scary to look forward to the future and think, oh my God, how are we going to deal with text? How are we going to deal with MMS? How are we going to deal with all these issues? But I think if we get behind these issues and we're in front of them and start working together and collectively, we can develop systems that are better than what happened when we had wireless thrown in. We were just thrown into wireless. I don't want to see that happen again. I want to see the PSAPs prepared, informed, and able to deal with the evolving technology. I think that my proven experience as a leader has prepared me to represent the region, and I hope you'll give me the opportunity to continue representing me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, Monica, can you go ahead and give us your introduction, please?
You bet. Thank you. Thanks to Chris and Bree, and thank you, Sharon, for the opportunity to share a little bit of information about myself via this webcast. I'm Monica Million. I am the operations manager for the Grand Junction Regional Communications Center here in Colorado. I'm originally from Southern California. Although I don't have the tenure that my opponent, Lisa, has in this business, I've been in the business for 13 years. I have 20 years of supervision and management, the majority of which was in the private sector. I worked for an aircraft manufacturer for a number of years. Some of the things that I think I bring to the table are a different perspective in that, and I think I still have the enthusiasm and energy and the excitement of what this business brings to us and in our personal satisfaction in our jobs. Recently I've worked with our state senator, Gene Nicholson, on some really important EMS quality assurance legislation for pre-hospital care for patients here in the state of Colorado. I've been a voting member and participated on the Colorado 911 Task Force for the Public Utilities Commission for the last 2 years. I've worked with the state's Next Gen Steering Committee in developing a program or process or path, if you will, for how the state of Colorado is going to migrate to the next generation system. Colorado is unique in the country in how we manage our 911 system. It is more of a collaborative effort. We do not have a state-run office where technology and some decisions are made at a state level. The 56 different authorities in the state manage their own business the way they will. So that presents its own set of challenges. So we get a lot of opportunity to build collaborative style relationships, and I believe that's something that I'm really good at. And I think that's really critical in reaching out to members of NENA and encouraging membership and participation at the organization level. At the fall of last year into the spring of this year, I collaborated with service providers and legislators on 4 significant telecommunications bills that are currently in our state Senate being heard. So that was a really interesting experience for me, and I think it's been important that as 911 professionals, we continue to bring our issues to our elected officials so that we can have impact on funding, on legislation and rulemaking that is the framework that we need around the 911 industry. Let's see, what else have I done? I've been lucky enough to be the recipient of some state level, or I'm sorry, some local level awards as from a leadership perspective. Again, I don't think I have the same vast experience that Lisa has, but what I bring is a different flavor to the table, and I think that is what my candidacy is going to be on, is the energy and excitement and really talking about being involved at the grassroots of an organization. I've been in other professional organizations, and where the pedal meets the road is where you can make a difference in your career and participating in the association, and that's really what membership matters is my campaign slogan, if you will, and it has made a difference for me, especially in the last probably 3 or 4 years. I've been on our state chapter leadership board. I'm currently the 2nd VP. I've mostly served in the western region of our state, but I've really built collaborative relationships with our partners in New Mexico, Arizona, Utah, and there's a small contingent in Wyoming who are just trying to get their feet wet, and we've provided some direction and assistance to our partners in Wyoming. And again, it's about building those collaborative relationships and working towards because we're all working towards the same goal. That's what I'm about, and I appreciate the opportunity to share that with you.
Thank you, Monica. Okay, Lisa, you're going to be receiving the first question. What motivated you to run for this office this time?
Okay, thank you, Sharon. I was motivated to run for the Western Region Director is to continue contributing to increasing the Western Region's involvement in NENA and national issues that 911 industry is facing in the coming years. As I said, I have 32 years of PSAC experience, but I'm also, I've also got experience in all 3 dimensions of public safety dispatch, EMS, fire, police, so I'm acutely aware of the daily changes in technology and operation standards, training requirements, and their impact on the PSAC. The Western region is unique in that it operates in several different time zones, shares borders with other countries, and has a dense urban yet also vast rural landscape. Each of these diverse areas are impacted differently by the changes in technology and funding, Therefore, the PSAP region has to have a voice in defining new systems and technology, but more importantly, funding and acknowledgement, because there are, like I said, vast rural areas that literally receive no funding whatsoever from any source of 911, and they haven't been able to evolve their technology as quickly as other regions of the Western area that are head above in funding and also in technology capabilities. I really believe that we have to have a balanced approach to the rollout of NextGen, and I really feel it has to be something where we expand on the FirstNet initiative, work collaboratively to ensure that waterfall of funding gets changed so that we can get that funding sooner rather than later. And I believe that my experience and understanding of the region, as well as my expertise in 911 technology and operations, along with my ability to meet with political representatives, is going to serve the Western region very well.
Thank you, Lisa. Monica, what motivated you to run for the office?
You know, in the last couple of years, I've become more involved in the working groups. Back in 2005, when I went to my first NENA ODC, was my first venturing out into, really participating at the working group level. I became involved with one of the contingency plan groups and actually one of the first TERT conversations that happened obviously after Hurricane Katrina, and really being able to, what I feel, participate with a group of people that can make a difference. Where, NENA is really great at establishing those work groups and building those collaborative relationships to come to building a standards document that are sets of best practices that everybody can use, whether they're from technology focus or from an operations focus. And really, my increased involvement in that made me want to, step up to the next level, being involved in the local chapter leadership board and seeing how we're building relationships with our surrounding states and how we're trying to help one another with our membership, getting membership numbers up, having membership involvement. What is this? I just want to make a difference, and I think, again, it's about motivating and inspiring others to continue that kind of participation in the organization, and just the satisfaction that I gained from that and sharing that experience with everybody is what motivated me to run for office.
Okay, thank you, Monica. And now I don't want Lisa to always be the first one on the hot seat, so you're going to, Monica, receive the next question.
Okay.
What would you identify as 3 of your strengths or core values that you would bring to the NENA board and ultimately to the membership?
That's a great question, Sharon. And, here's what I think represents Monica. Integrity, teamwork, and respect. You have to have integrity. Those of us in this business know that. Those of us that make the biggest difference, we walk the walk. We do what we need to do. We make a commitment. We follow through with it. And acting with a high level of integrity, to me, is who I am. I expect it of the people who work for me. I build strong relationships with others who demonstrate high degrees of integrity, because that's what I gravitate to. The bigger thing for me, too, because I'm so much about teamwork, is that working within a group of people where you build collaborative relationships all towards a common goal for the greater good. A comm center functions fabulously when you have great teamwork. The association functions well when there's great teamwork amongst the different work groups and the different factions within the group that are working towards a common goal, whether it's, again, the technology folks or the operations folks. And then finally, respect. Respect is sometimes not the easiest thing to get or earn, but once you have it or give it, it's just that human interaction with your fellow professionals. I think that those three traits are sacred to me.
Okay, thank you, Monica. Lisa, I'll repeat the question for you. What would you identify as 3 of your strengths or core values that you would bring to the NENA board and ultimately to the membership?
Thank you, Sharon. When I think of my core values, the number one value that comes to mind is integrity. The reason I always start with integrity is that it forms the basis upon which all of my core values, beliefs, and principles are established. For me, integrity is my personal code for being consistent to my commitments and honoring moral, ethical, and spiritual values and principles. You know, I always say integrity is a concept of consistency of actions, values, measures, principles, expectations, and outcomes. When I talk about integrity, I'm talking about my personal value, my statement on life. If I give my word, I keep it. If I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I think if you have integrity, it forms a solid basis for all other professional and personal aspects of your core being. Another of my core commitments and core values is commitment. I believe in keeping my promises and following through on my word. I'm not afraid to ask for help if I need it, and I work very collaboratively with others to ensure a positive outcome every time it's possible. There are always going to be times when a positive outcome isn't going to be found, but I think it's really important to keep your commitment, work collaboratively with other people to ensure the best outcome possible, and to keep your commitments. And lastly, I say leadership. I'm committed to valuing individual and collective leadership because I don't think leadership is just reliant on one leader. I think it's reliant on that leader reaching out to others and working with them to help them become leaders as well. I think innovation is necessary in that aspect because I don't think everybody doesn't stand out as a leader. Leaders stand out because they take the initiative to do something, but if they don't bring others along with them, then they're not a very good leader. I think it's really necessary to be a leader that takes action, but takes action collaboratively, professionally, with integrity, and always formatting everything on their commitment to get whatever they said done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. Now you're going to get the next question first this time. What do you see as the #1 issue facing public safety right now? And what can NENA do to address or better address it?
The #1 issue, I believe, facing public safety right now is working toward an integrated system through the FirstNet implementation. Everybody's concerned about next gen, but if we don't have funding, there's not going to be a next gen. If we don't deal with the FirstNet implementation, we're not going to be able to get the funding, secure the equipment, get the centers up and running. FirstNet's kind of an odd piece of legislation because basically it talks about providing a broadband network that we can secure communications independently from other communication aspects to public safety. But if we can't use that system in 911 to receive the data that the field is going to be expecting us to deliver, and we can't transmit that information using that same broadband network, then the system's going to really be only operating on 2/3 of what it needs. And I think the biggest third, actually a third is just a third, but I think the biggest key to that is making sure that we have part of that funding, part of that network codified, introduced legislatively or regulatorily. I'm not sure which it will happen. I think it's going to evolve. But if we're not part of that FirstNet build-out, if we're not part of that piece of the operation, next gen is going to be difficult because, you know, FirstNet is a nationwide broadband network. If each PSAP is independently operating their own next-gen format, how are they going to communicate and transmit that data to other sources outside their region, their area, their jurisdiction, or their responsibility? I think we have to, and NENA has to get involved, and we have to get involved as NENA members at the local level to ensure that we get a piece of that FirstNet pie, for lack of better words, and to make sure that our legislators understand how vital it is that 911 is included in that total overall broadband picture, because right now they're just talking about it in terms of public safety, and they forget that 911 is the first piece of public safety. If those networks aren't in place, and if that funding isn't in place, and if we aren't able to utilize it, it's going to cause us to piecemeal a system together. And I believe that that's something that we have to advocate for, and I think it's something that we have to be right out in front of, and we have to be constantly reminding everybody who we are, what we do, and where we fit into the puzzle. Because the whole next-gen thing is like a giant jigsaw puzzle, And the 911 piece can't be missing from that puzzle, or it's never going to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Okay, Monica, I'll repeat the question for you. What do you see as the #1 issue facing public safety right now, and what can NENA do to address or better address it?
I appreciate that Lisa spoke to the FirstNet situation, and while that's not my response, it's very interesting here. We've been fortunate in the state of Colorado to have been awarded one of the first grants in FirstNet, and one of my well-respected colleagues from the 911 community is actually sitting on the state panel on how we're going to develop this architecture and infrastructure. And I think in the state of Colorado, we're going to be building a very good model for other states to follow in ensuring that 911 is injected in the solution so that the next gen 911 solution will work more effectively across the country. To me, though, the number one issue facing us right now is ensuring equal access to public safety services for everyone. You know, we're in this era of technological changes where the consumer can buy a new device every day, and part of our responsibility is ensuring that those devices can reach the appropriate PSAP and deliver, you know, the enhanced 911 location information. We have to be able to know where people are at, no matter what kind of device they're contacting us from. And I think sometimes as consumers we get so caught up in, you know, what's the latest gadget, or, you know, what's the latest trick thing that we can buy that has all the bells and whistles. We forget about the very basic emergency service that we expect as Americans that device will afford us as access to a public safety system. You know, unfortunately, the text to 911 experience didn't start off really well. I think as an industry, we undermined ourselves somewhat in creating a little bit of a panic in that we were like, oh my gosh, we're going to be overwhelmed by, you know, thousands of text messages, and we're not going to be able to process it. And when the reality has been actually 180 degrees out, completely opposite of that. The experience has been a lot different. So equal access, so we're not leaving anybody behind for access to public safety services. And I think NENA just needs to continue to, with their efforts with the FCC regarding rulemaking, and as part of the leadership board, I would hope to be able to participate in some of that, and just keeping the issue on the very near agendas because of how critical some of that rulemaking, I think, needs to be so that we can enact services at the local level. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. You'll receive the next question first, please. That question is, how would you improve NENA's value to its members?
How would I improve NENA's value to their members? You know, for me, it is not a monetary deal. Although I think it's awesome that the association has set up relationships with service providers where, as consumers, we can get discounts. I think that the value is in building those networking relationships. I currently work on the membership work group. One of my immediate supervisors, because I was already on too many work groups, he's collaborating on the TC caucus, and really finding ways to continue to ensure ease of access, cost-effective access to the association. But it's the value in that is the networking relationships that we build with one another, all of the training opportunities that you gain through membership, and reminding people that that return on your investment of time and effort is where the payoff to the participating in the association is at. Being being a contributing member, again, like I speak to at the grassroots level of the association, it's not about I pay $100 to participate in a particular association and I get discounts at XYZ service retailer. It's about what the organization, participating in the organization, gives back to me, both individually and then to my career. I have, again, been able to collaborate with people, great colleagues across this country on all kinds of issues, and the satisfaction of knowing that I'm able to bring best practices to the greater good of our profession is where the value of the membership comes from for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Monica. Okay, Lisa, how would you improve NENA's value to its members?
Well, Sharon, when I think about it, with so many organizations out there to choose from, and we know who they all are, there's a lot of alphabet soup organizations out there, and it does cost money to join the organizations. I think we need to help our members and potential members make NENA their choice for membership. I think the most important success factor in ensuring the association's message is focused on the value for the member and communicating that message in the most effective way possible. I have to say I've been really impressed in the last 2 years with NENA. I think they've radically changed a lot of the process for developing and getting information out to the membership. I think one of the most important things that I have noticed recently are the webinars. I think they're fantastic. I think they're a great avenue for approach for NENA members who don't have time to participate on every day. I mean, everybody has a full-time job. Everybody has a lot of work to do. Everybody has a very full life. And having those webinars available, I think, is fantastic. The Smart Brief blasts are important to members because it gives a high-level overview from which the members can select to review what information they feel is pertinent to them and what information they feel is maybe something they can table for later on, even if not able to look at it right away, maybe in a week or so, going back when they have time to review the information. I think the Smart Brief blasts have been one of the 2 most effective tools that, along with the webinar. I think they're all very effective. The one thing I would add is a Q&A feature that allows questions from the memberships to be answered formally in the Smart Brief, meaning that, I don't know, maybe we post something on the website or send a blast out to the members and say, a question, hey, what's happening for you? What do you need to know about? What are you interested in right now? What's a pressing issue or question that you have that we can help you with information on? Because 99% of the time, that issue is not going to be isolated to one single entity or PSAP. It's going to be an issue or a concern that's out there floating around that nobody's ever actually said, hey, I think I need to ask a question about that. When I was on Cal NENA board, when I started, we had a membership of about 200 when I first started on the board. By the time I was off the board, we had a membership of about 500 plus. I think the key part of that was getting information out to the actual members themselves, telling them what was going on in the industry, advocating them to get involved in the industry, helping them tell us and formulate for us what their needs and desires are, and asking them, what can we do for you? I think any membership is only as good, or any organization is only as good as its membership's interactions with that organization. And if that organization is open to hearing from those members, dialoguing with those members, and taking information from those members and using that to their own good, it's only going to make our organization stronger. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Chris, I believe we're almost out of time. Am I correct?
Yes, it seems that way. I don't see any questions here from the audience, so I'll remind you, if you have any, please share them in the GoToWebinar interface. But looking like no questions from the audience, I guess I will just thank Sharon for moderating this great panel, thank our 2 wonderful candidates, Lisa and Monica, and you, the attendees, for checking out this webinar. You can look forward to more information on the upcoming NENA election on Monday of next week, and of course voting opens on Tuesday the 29th. We hope you're going to join us at the NENA 2014 Conference and Expo, where you'll see our new executive board sworn in and hear a lot more about the pressing issues that our 2 candidates spoke about today. So thank you, everyone, and we hope to see you on a webinar soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.